Well, Ash, another PTO / T100 victory. That's 5 for you. Next closest is 2, and it just happens to be your closest rival, Taylor Knibb. How does it feel to get your 5th one on the board?
Yeah, it feels really good. They don't get easier, that's for sure. But yeah, obviously I had a really good day today, and yeah, I kind of feel like I've just crossed the line, so I haven't had much time to think about it. But yeah, I'm really happy with my performance.
Take me through your performance. Like, rather than me ask specific questions, how did you see your day?
I haven't seen any splits or anything like that or on my power on the bike, but I mean, just looking at it at a pretty basic level, I would say that all round I was pretty solid. I mean, I feel like I had got a really good start in the swim and found myself kind of leading that chase pack but behind the super swimmers, which I kind of knew that they'd get away pretty quickly. Yeah, so I led probably around 1,500 or so metres of that swim and kind of went off a bit, hoping someone would lead the end part for me. But yeah, and then on the bike, it was really tough. Like, it's just flat. There's a few little rises, but I mean, the road surface and kind of made it, yeah, a real challenge. But I went out super hard. You know, I was, you know, kind of barely hanging on to Imogen. You know, she kind of had gapped me that whole way, but I was just trying to pace off her, but she was riding super strong, and I was kind of worried that maybe I'd kind of ridden too hard too quickly. But I'm actually really happy that I kind of held on and kept some super strong cyclists kind of behind me, because obviously they're very good runners as well. So I kind of got off the bike going, well, that was a pretty hard bike ride. I hope I can run all right. And yeah, kind of surprised myself a bit with kind of how strong I was throughout the whole day.
When you exited the water and you'd been leading that chase group, like you said, with Imogen Simmons and India Lee, you did pretty aggressively go out of T2, and you actually gapped India and Imogen and had about 15 seconds on Imogen there. When she came across to you, did you try to go with her?
Yeah, I guess, you know, I don't know how far off her I was, maybe like 25 metres pretty much the whole time, but I actually found it really difficult to even get closer to get to that draft legal limit. But she was just riding super strong, and I think it was helpful though, especially at the start, to try and like pace myself off her. I'll be interested to look at my bike file, because I know that, you know, I definitely felt like I started quite aggressively, but you know, she definitely would have had the fastest bike split of the day and rode up to the leaders. But yeah, obviously in my mind I was thinking, let's just race the race. I didn't really look down at my computer too much. It's like, let's just see where this kind of takes me. And the last couple of laps were pretty tough. I think I held my power reasonably well, but I mean, I started to get a bit blurry-eyed, to be honest, in the last couple of laps on the bike. But yeah, I felt like I was on top of my nutrition, and I was able to still stay away from that group that was behind me that was super strong. So yeah, I was happy with that.
And then around 2 minutes behind into T2 from, you know, Imogen Simmons, who had a great ride, and Lucy Charles-Barclay, who ultimately DNF'd. Did you know that's where you were in the race, and were you confident exiting T2?
Yeah, I guess with the course being 8 laps on the bike, I kind of could see the girls quite often on the far U-turn. Actually, that way they had enough of a gap that I actually didn't see them. But on one of the U-turns over the little bridge, that was more open, so I did see them on that U-turn every time. So I could see that I was actually holding the gap to someone like Lucy pretty consistently. And I was getting splits from Josh that it was like a minute 20 from like lap 3 to the end of the bike. It was about a minute 20, which I think I lost maybe 10 or 15 seconds towards the back end of that. So I guess, yeah, it was nice to be able to get a visual on my competitors a lot of the way. And obviously with lots of spectators on the course, I got a few time splits as well.
And then you found yourself in the front of the run, and you still had about 12 kilometres to run or so. Talk to me about that last bit of the run.
I went out pretty aggressively. I mean, I kind of thought to myself, let's just try and make inroads as quickly as I could. And once I did, I still had 3 laps to go, and kind of like on the bike, I was like, oh gosh, have I gone out way too hard? I probably did. I probably should have paced it slightly better. But when you are the athlete that is chasing, you're obviously very tempted to try and close gaps like as quickly as you can. And sometimes, yeah, I'm not as patient as I should be. But it worked out in the end and I was able to stay strong. But yeah, I definitely probably faded a bit towards the end. But also in my mind, I knew that I had a pretty comfortable gap. And visually on the course too, being 6 laps, I was able to see my competitors. So on the very last lap, actually, my hamstring started to get really sore. And I didn't know if I was like about to cramp. Like it felt like I was on the verge of cramping the whole time. So I was like a little worried about that, to be honest, and it's a bit sore right now, so wow. I think I'll just need to get a bit of treatment on that, but I don't think I did any damage, but I definitely felt like I had pushed my body to the limit, because even down the ramp on the last few laps, my quads were just completely blown out, it felt, especially after the bike ride. So I tried to make sure that I kept the pace up, but I just ran with a good technique and just kept it pretty stable those last 3 laps.
You won Singapore, the 7th place at San Francisco, and then you won here today. Taylor Knibb won San Francisco, and today she was doing the Olympic TT and had the 3 crashes and had a bike change and had a rough day, a tough day for her. And on the other hand, you had one of your best days here. Talk to me about that rivalry. Does this win give you confidence for the next time that you come face to face with her?
Well, firstly, I hope she's okay. That's never a nice thing to hear when you know that your competitors have had bad days, and especially that have crashed. Yeah. You know, when I race people, I always want to make sure that actually everyone is super safe. So, that's really unfortunate for her, and I hope she's okay and she's all good for the triathlon. But I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Taylor, and I have a lot of respect for all the competitors on the field. So, I mean, yeah, of course it's a rivalry. She completely smashed me in San Francisco though. So, I mean, that was one of my worst days in 2.5 years though. So I don't really feel like I brought my best self to that race, which I think was pretty clear to everyone though. So yeah, like I've mentioned before, I definitely think that someone like her motivates me. You know, I see the things that she's achieving in triathlon, but also in her cycling endeavours. And for me, it's like, yeah, I have a lot of respect for her, but it also motivates me because, like, that's the standard, right? And that's where we all need to lift to try and make sure that, like, we're racing just as strong. So. You know, we can be competitive against someone like that.
Yeah, well said. Well, your 5th PTO/T100 win, like I said. Taylor's won 2, no one else has won more than 1. You also went to the front of the leaderboard. You're number 1 on the leaderboard so far for 2024, and it was a great day, a great performance, and thank you for putting on a show.
Yeah, thank you. I will say that I think London put on a great show for us. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty insane the amount of people that were cheering for me out in the course, and it made for a really good atmosphere. And so I hope that those people know that we appreciate it too, because it made the event and the vibe just really nice, and it makes me really want to come back to London again.
Good stuff, Ash.
Thanks.